Dave and Sam, you two have stepped into the ranks of, one of the great legendary Australian bands. Now, for you, you had some background in treading the boards with a major rock band. You had far less of a background, but it wasn't like you were joining sort of a new band. This was a well-established band. Just tell me a little bit about sort of becoming part of the Angels, becoming part of that sound, contributing to it.
Well, the first thing I had in the Angels was when my dad had a heart attack and I filled in for him for, I think it was about 10 gigs or something.
Okay.
And that was, on the reunion tour when Doc was in the band and Buzz and, so...
So it had a crack at it.
Yeah.
And it felt good?
Yeah, absolutely.
And did you think, hey, I can do this? I can step up to the plate
on guitar, because I knew all the songs on guitar, but then on bass I sort of had to learn how to play bass, so I had, had to put in a lot of hours.
Yes.
And
now you came to the Angels from, of course, the Screaming Jets, and I gather there were some adjustments. You couldn't necessarily be the Screaming Jets frontman when you were the Angels frontman.
That's right.
What were the adjustments that had to be made when you went from one to the other?
Well, I think because in the Jets I didn't write all the songs, but I was obviously involved in the bringing to life of all the songs. So about each song there's a story to be told. Not that sometimes I tried to tell a story about each song and the boys go, just shut up, mate, come on. But there was stories that I was involved in and could tell on stage. And obviously with the Angels songs, I've come in and the songs have been written by John and Rick. And can I just say, Rick Brewster wrote Dawn is Breaking, and God help me if that's not one of the greatest poetic pieces of rock of all time. And then, but John's written After the Rain and Can't Shake It, and they've written between them some of the most amazing songs. And so the difference between the two is I feel more part of the process of the songs with the Screaming Jets, but with the Angels I feel that they're like, I've got to present them in a way that everyone who loves them like I love them will go, oh, well, that's a faithful representation, So,
well, you've replaced, of course, Doc Neeson. You've replaced Chris Bailey. And did you find that did the audience go with you? I mean, it's been 5 years for you, Dave. I mean, or was it a struggle to establish yourself in their eyes?
Well, look, I'm a fan of music, so I've always shook my head, John Stevens in excess, or just because you don't know how it's going to work out. But when John and Rick, when we got involved and I was doing some recording with the guys and it went down really easy and we had a great time, and then talk of touring came up, I just took my cues from John and Rick really, and if they were positive about what I was doing, then I was happy to be involved. And because look, they're guys who've built a reputation over 40 years or 35 years at that time, to take it back, but they're not going to bring in someone who they think is going to trash the whole thing. And so for them to give me the thumbs up, I was just like, okay, well, I'll go for this wholeheartedly and really try to be a part of the continuation of one of the greatest Australian rock bands of all time. Well,
you, of course, had some experience of large, raucous, screaming, howling crowds. Perhaps less so for you. And you've stepped in to not a normal young person's band, but you've gone right to the top with a major established band. Was there any sort of trepidation at the time, or did you?
Oh yeah, I definitely got quite nervous for quite a while. Yeah, I get
25,000 people. We did Eclipse, so it was.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
We
absolutely.
were all shitting ourselves.
It's a hell of a way to start your career, even if your dad is on the stage with you. Although at some gigs, as you said, he wasn't. I mean, you had to sort of, you had to really stand there and live up to what was expected of you.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was when I sort of had that taste of it when I replaced him, when it was Doc still in the band, and Doc said, you know, just stay out of the way, stay back until it's time to sing, and you know, like that whole AC/DC thing of coming forward and back, and you know, and just a few other things that he said that like sort of made it a bit easier, and also had Chris right next to me too. So if I'd forget a chord or something, I'd just sort of look at Chris and he'd go, hey. Most of the songs are in the key of A anyway. So.
The nod and the wink.
You spent some time in his final days with Chris Bailey. And it's been mentioned on stage, I think, but you know, possibly by your father, that in a way it was like passing on the baton in the band. And did you feel that?
Yeah, well, Chris was supposed to come back. So when I replaced him, it was only going to be temporarily, like while he was recovering from an operation, and he was basically, I mean, he'd almost fully healed, and it just so happened that he got an infection in his jaw, so he couldn't, and they were going to treat that, but then unfortunately, he never recovered from that. So. Yeah.
We did get to, he got up, even when he was recovering, he got up and played with us at the bridge, and he must have been in, you know, an immense amount of pain, but the look on his face of joy, he just loved to play, and I only knew him a very short time. We went over to Japan when I first joined the band, we hung out a bit there. He's a really good bloke, and for him to get up at that bridge show, which was possibly
was
only
amazing.
Months before he passed away, it was an amazing thing, and you know, I'll always remember the look on his face of just, because even John and Rick were going, "Are you sure, mate? Are you sure?" And he's like, "Mate, I want to do it." So
he wasn't allowed to, but you know, did it anyway. It was it's true.
So in the early times when you joined the band on stage, did you walk off after gigs and go, "This is fun. I want to keep doing this"? Was that sort of, did you? This is better than working in, you know, the car factory or something. I mean,
for sure. Yeah. Well, actually, I mean, I've done gigs, you know, since most of my adult life, and with my brothers too. We had a band together. We had an original band that didn't really take off, but.
Because his dad and his uncle already had the band name, the Brewster Brothers.
That's right.
You couldn't be the Brewster Brothers.
Well, we tried that. We said, well, there's more of us than there are of you, so, you know.
Have like a turf war.
Yeah, that's right. But anyway.
We were the Originals, but then we found out there was another band called the Originals, so then we became the New Originals. Yeah.
So how is the chemistry in the band now with this existing, well, obviously having your father and uncle, but I mean, but what is there a strong chemistry? Is it a good band to be in? Is there a sense of fun and enjoyment and satisfaction?
Yeah, for sure. You know, once they go to bed, you know.
You go out and party.
But it's a real band. It's a real band. We all drive along in the Tarago, and people will say outrageous things every now and again. Not me.
But you have to watch what you say because you've got your father and your uncle in the band. Does it be a bit, you know, restricting?
I can't hear.
Yeah, I think.
We're in the back.
I don't know. I think he said more horrendous things that I wish I hadn't heard, you know, than what I have.
Yeah, I think. I mean, when you're in a band, and obviously John. They were in the great days of the early incarnations of rock and roll. There's so many stories John can't tell in front of his oldest son.
I don't want to know them. I'm not interested.
So you've recorded now with the band. I mean, it's a fully fledged band. It's made a couple of albums, and it's now you've played I don't know how many shows, but I mean, you know, it's not just a let's try it and see if it works. It does work.
We've done hundreds of shows.
Couple
now,
hundred, I reckon.
Yeah.
And we've done like the Day on the Greens and we're doing the Red Hot Summer Tour, and so you play to thousands of people who love Australian music. They're there to see it delivered in a great way. And I can confidently say, like, Mark Seymour, unbelievable performer, just fantastic. And I haven't seen Noiseworks yet. Of course, Barnsley's on the tour. The Bad Loves are back together. Great to see those blokes. They all disintegrated in 1996 or 7 over in England and all just went, get stuffed 2 years later. Now they're back together, they're making music, and we're doing it to thousands of people, and to know that, you know, that we're actually living and keeping the thing going that's been going for 40 years is pretty exciting.
Yeah,
Still.
you're giving it, sort of some perpetual energy.
Yeah,
Just one thing, I mean, you still do gigs with the Jets when time allows.
Yeah.
I know it's probably difficult to compare the two, but is there a distinct difference between, the two bands? And
With
do you
the
have to put yourself in a frame?
With the Angels, I'm a subcontractor, and with the Jets, I'm the boss. I'm Harry Triggerbob.
Is that how it is? Well, listen, new guys, it's great that you're part of keeping this venerable outfit out there on the road, still drawing a huge audience, and may it long be the case.
Rock on.
Thank you.
Thanks, Glenn.
man. Thanks, Glenn.
Cheers.